All right, let's talk cheese. I mean, seriously, who doesn't love cheese?
Hard to argue with that.
I bet you right now, if we peeked into your fridge, we'd find some kind of cheese in there. Am I right? A block, a wedge, maybe some shredded stuff.
Probably.
It's a staple, right? And we're not alone. I mean, folks in the Western world, we really go for the cheese.
Yeah, for sure.
Just to put it into perspective, last year, the average European ate 45 pounds of cheese? That's a whole lot of cheese.
That is a lot. 20.5 kilos. We love our cheese.
It's a real love affair, but there's this nagging thought in the back of my mind whenever I reach for that cheddar or brie. It's the whole sustainability thing.
Yeah. The environmental impact of our cheese habit. That's something a lot of us are wrestling with these days.
It is. So, of course, we've got the plant-based cheese options popping up all over the place.
Right.
But if I'm honest, as someone who, considers myself a bit of a cheese enthusiast, let's just say those plant-based alternatives, they haven't quite nailed it yet, have they?
Well, it's tricky. Capturing those complex flavors and textures of traditional cheese, particularly with purely plant-based ingredients, it's a real challenge.
The melt, the stretch, that specific mouthfeel, it's just not quite there yet.
No, it's a real culinary puzzle.
A puzzle indeed. But you know what? Some really smart folks over at the University of Copenhagen, they're tackling this puzzle head on.
Oh, really? What are they doing?
Well, instead of trying to recreate cheese exactly with only plants, they're experimenting with something they're calling hybrid cheese. It's this fascinating concept where they blend milk proteins with plant-based ones.
Interesting. Hybrid cheese, so it's not fully plant-based, but not traditional dairy either. A sort of middle ground.
Exactly, a best of both worlds approach. Professor Lilia Arnay from the university, she really hit the nail on the head when she explained why this approach makes so much sense. She basically said, look, getting that perfect cheese texture using just plant proteins is a real uphill battle.
I can imagine.
So their idea is, well, why not keep some of the milk protein in there, that structure that gives cheese its cheesiness, but then swap out some of it with a plant-based protein? Kind of ease our way into it and see if we can achieve something that tastes great, feels right in the mouth, but also takes a step in a more sustainable direction.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And Professor Arnay makes another important point, one we can't forget when we talk about these new food innovations. At the end of the day, no matter how sustainable or ethical a food is, if it doesn't taste good, people aren't going to buy it.
Yeah, for sure. It's got to be delicious first and foremost, right?
Absolutely.
So these researchers, they didn't just stop at the idea. They actually got their hands dirty and created a hybrid cheese. They started with paneer, which I'm a huge fan of.
Paneer. Okay, I'm not super familiar with paneer. What's that like?
Oh man, you're missing out. Paneer is amazing. It's a fresh cheese that's very popular in South Asian cuisine. Yeah. What I love about it is it holds its shape really well when you cook it. You can grill it, fry it, bake it, and it doesn't just melt away into a puddle like some cheeses.
Ah, I see. So it has that firm, almost meaty texture.
Exactly. It's often used as a meat alternative, actually, and it's that firmness that made it the perfect test subject for the researchers in Copenhagen.
Makes sense. So if you're trying to create a hybrid cheese that still has those desired textural qualities, starting with a cheese that's already firm is a good strategy.
Totally. And the main protein that gives paneer its signature texture? It's called casein.
Casein, okay. I've heard of that. It's the primary protein found in milk.
Right. You got it. So basically what they did is they said, okay, we need to keep some of that casein in the mix for the structure, but let's see if we can also incorporate some plant protein in there. And the plant protein they chose was pea protein.
Pea protein, interesting. That's becoming increasingly popular as a plant-based protein source?
It is. And from a sustainability standpoint, they pointed out that peas, you can actually grow them right there in Europe. So you've got shorter supply chains compared to something like soy, which often has to be shipped from far away.
I see. So there's a potential environmental benefit right there in choosing pea protein over something like soy.
Exactly. So for this deep dive, what we're really trying to figure out is, can this hybrid cheese actually deliver? Can we really get a more sustainable cheese without sacrificing the things we love about cheese in the first place? Like the texture and the taste.
Right. Like, can you actually replace a significant portion of that milk protein with pea protein and still end up with something that resembles paneer, both in how it looks and feels and how it tastes?
Exactly. So let's get down to brass tacks. What did their experiments actually share? How much milk protein could they realistically swap out for pea protein before the paneer started to, fall apart?
Well, they did a lot of experimenting. Wenji Xia, the postdoc who led the research, he and his team were really rigorous about it. They wanted to pinpoint the exact threshold where the paneer would lose its structural integrity if you added too much pea protein. And the result was really promising.
Okay, so what was the magic number?
They found that they could substitute at least 25% of the milk protein with pea protein. And get this, the resulting hybrid paneer was pretty much indistinguishable from the traditional stuff.
Wow, 25%, that's a quarter of the milk protein gone, replaced with plant-based protein, and it's still held up. That's impressive.
It is, and they documented all their findings, all the details of the experiments, in a paper they published in the journal Food Research International. So it's all out there for folks to check out.
Okay, so that begs the next question. How did they manage that? Plant proteins, I mean, they don't always behave the same way as milk proteins in cheese making, do they?
You're exactly right. And the researchers observed this firsthand. What they found was that during the cheese-making process, the pea proteins tended to hold on to more water than the casein.
Huh, interesting. So more moisture in the mix? That could definitely mess with the texture if they weren't careful.
Exactly. So to counteract that, they had to adjust the process. You see, in traditional paneer making, there's a step where you press the curds to remove excess whey and get that solid, compact texture.
Right, the pressing.
Well, for the hybrid paneer, they discovered they needed to apply much higher pressure during pressing than they would for the regular paneer. This helped squeeze out that extra water the pea proteins were holding on to and allowed the hybrid cheese to set properly.
That's clever. So they basically adapted the traditional method to accommodate the unique properties of the pea protein.
Exactly. They found the way to make it work. It wasn't just a simple ingredient swap. It was a thoughtful adjustment to the entire process.
And it sounds like Wenji Xia, he's pretty excited about the implications of this research, right?
Oh, absolutely. He's really optimistic. He actually referred to these hybrid cheeses as a solid step towards more sustainable dairy products, which I think is a great way to put it.
It is. And he seems to think that this 25% replacement, that might just be the beginning.
Yeah. He and the team believe that with further research and refinement, they can probably push that percentage even higher, replace even more of the milk protein with plant-based protein, and still create a delicious, appealing cheese.
Which, of course, would have a huge impact on the environmental footprint of cheese production.
Absolutely. And, it's not just about the environmental benefits either. Professor Arnay also pointed out some potential nutritional advantages of this hybrid approach.
Oh, really? Tell me more about that.
So, we know dairy is a great source of protein, particularly high-quality protein that contains all the essential amino acids our bodies need.
Right, and calcium, too.
Exactly. But when you bring in plant-based proteins like pea protein, you often get a bonus, dietary fiber.
Ah, I see where you're going with this. So these hybrid cheeses, they could potentially offer a broader spectrum of nutrients, combining the best of both worlds, the protein and calcium from dairy, plus the fiber from plants.
Precisely. So it's quite fascinating, isn't it? We set out to address the sustainability issue, and in the process, we might actually end up with a product that's not just better for the planet, but potentially better for us as well.
That's amazing. 2 birds, 1 stone. Now, I'm curious, their choice to focus on paneer, that wasn't just random, was it? There must have been a specific reason.
You're right, it wasn't random at all. Paneer, along with other non-melting cheeses like halloumi and feta, they have this really interesting characteristic. They hold their shape when you cook them.
Right. I mentioned that earlier. You can fry it, grill it, bake it, and it stays nice and firm, doesn't turn into a melty mess.
Exactly. And that makes them a really popular choice as a meat alternative, particularly in regions where vegetarianism and veganism are more common, like in India.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you're trying to replace meat in a dish, you need something that can hold its own, texture-wise.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the researchers, they see a lot of potential for hybrid paneer to fill that same niche in Western cuisine as well. We love our grilled and fried foods.
I mean, who doesn't love a good barbecue?
Exactly. So imagine tossing some hybrid paneer on the grill next to your veggie burgers and whatnot.
It's a pretty appealing idea. So, are we going to be seeing hybrid paneer at the supermarket anytime soon?
Well, not quite yet. They've made fantastic strides in replicating the texture, but as with any new food product, there's always more work to be done, especially on the flavor front.
Okay, so they're not quite ready to roll it out on a mass scale.
Not just yet. They're committed to doing further research to make sure the taste is really dialed in before they go into full-scale production.
Right. After all, we've already established it's got to be delicious.
Absolutely.
So, to sum it all up for our listeners, we've learned that researchers have successfully created a hybrid paneer where a quarter of the milk protein is replaced with pea protein.
And incredibly, they've achieved this while maintaining a nearly identical texture, shape, and taste to traditional paneer.
And the key to their success. They tweaked the cheese-making process, applying higher pressure during pressing to account for the pea protein's tendency to hold on to more water.
And they've done this all with sustainability in mind.
Right. The goal here is to create a more eco-friendly cheese, one that maybe even boasts some extra nutritional perks thanks to those plant-based proteins.
And they chose to focus on paneer because, unlike your typical melty cheeses, paneer keeps its shape when heated, making it a prime candidate for grilling, frying, and baking.
Which means it could be a real game changer in Western cuisine as a tasty and sustainable alternative to meat.
Imagine all the possibilities.
I know, it's really exciting.
It's truly incredible to see how blending traditional and plant-based ingredients like this could lead to a real revolution in our food systems.
I agree.
And it makes you think, doesn't it? What does this mean for our perception of food? What do we consider authentic when it comes to something like cheese?
That's a great question.
I mean, this isn't just about a new kind of cheese. This could be the beginning of a whole new way of thinking about food, about what we eat and how we produce it.
Food for thought indeed.
And maybe, just maybe, it'll inspire some of us to get a little creative in our own kitchens.
Why not? It's all about exploring, right?
Exactly.
Well, on that note, thanks for joining me on this deep dive. It's been a fascinating journey into the world of hybrid cheese.
My pleasure.
Until next time, happy cheese eating, everyone.
Cheers to that.